Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I want to share with you my top favorite concealers. I get asked about this all the time, so today we're going to get into all those details. Now I'm going to first start off with Pat McGrath concealers. Wow, these are really beautiful. I've got two shades, LM13 and LM14. LM14 has this beautiful yellow and olive undertone. It's really stunning. It's actually what I'm currently wearing under my eyes today. It looks fantastic. I really love this shade, specifically if you have an olive undertone like I do. I think it just works beautifully. So LM14 is also a shade that I really like to naturally brighten with. It's not too bright, but it's not my skin color either. It gives me a very nice highlighted look under the eye that still looks pretty natural, that I can still wear day to day. Now LM13 on the other hand does not have olive undertones, that has yellow undertones. I like to use when I really want that brightness under my eye. That's when I'll use LM13. I've actually used both of these interchangeably very often. I often wear them on YouTube, going to work and things like that. Now for work, I don't really use LM13 because it's a little bit too bright under the eye. What I love about this Pat McGrath concealer is that they are very creamy. It's definitely a creamy formula. It's not drying at all. It's also very pigmented, so it's full coverage and you don't really need a lot. When you apply this product, you realize that as you blend it out, it blends and blends and blends, and it kind of keeps on going while keeping the coverage. So beautiful product from Pat McGrath. This is a formula that I reach for very often, and I have no doubt that I will repurchase once I run out of these. Now next up, I want to talk about my Too Faced Born This Way multi-use sculpting concealer. This is one of my holy grails. This is creamy. Again, for those of you that love your creamy under eye concealers, this is a creamy one. Very effortless to use. It's also full coverage, and it's super effortless. This has never looked cakey or patchy on me, and it comes in a very wide color range. Now I don't think this comes in an olive, unfortunately. I haven't seen it. If you guys know of a shade of this one in olive, please do let me know. For example, the Pat McGrath comes in that olive undertone, which is just beautiful, whereas this one not so much, but it does come in your golden yellow undertones. Now the two shades I have are shade Sand and Golden Beige. Now Golden Beige was recommended by one of you, and I checked it out, and it's a beautiful shade. Now Golden Beige is very bright under the eyes, so when I want that bright under eye look, I do absolutely reach for the shade Golden Beige. However, let's say if I'm going to work and I really don't want a really bright under eye, what I end up doing is just mixing my summer shade, which is the shade Sand, with Golden Beige, and it's perfection for every day. I love that you get a lot of product in here. It's not as expensive as the Pat McGrath. If you're on a budget, I do recommend you stick with Born This Way rather than with Pat McGrath. That is quite expensive and you don't get a lot of product. In terms of creasing, both of these formulas crease the same way on me. I feel like the Pat McGrath creases just a little bit more than the Too Faced, just a little bit more. It's not a big deal. I personally don't mind if concealer creases, because what I just end up doing is when I see it in the mirror, I just tap with my finger and then it goes away. But if you're really worried about the creasing, out of these two formulas, I recommend the Too Faced. It doesn't really crease as much as the Pat McGrath. Next up is Shape Tape. So I've got the two mini sizes. I've got the newer Shape Tape, the creamy version, and of course the original Shape Tape. I love the original Shape Tape. I haven't had any issues with it. There are times when you use Shape Tape and it dries very quickly under your eyes, and you kind of have to work quickly just to make sure that this is not going to look patchy on you. So that's the really only downside with Shape Tape. However, if you do work quickly with it and you only work sort of one eye at a time, you'll be fine. And it looks really flawless. Like, this formula is super flawless under the eye. I don't recommend this though if you have dry under eyes. If you have normal under eyes to oily, then absolutely Shape Tape is fantastic. The other thing with this formula is my under eyes do not crease with this. I can wear this the whole day and at the end of the day, there is no creasing for me. Now, I know that's going to be different for different people. It also depends on how many fine lines you have and how deep they are. So all those factors will play a role. But for me, I find that if I really want that really flawless looking under eye without creasing, I will reach for Shape Tape, the original version. Now, the creamy version, it works exactly the same, but it is more creamier. So it's really interesting that Shape Tape came out with the creamy version, and I hope they don't discontinue the original. I really enjoy both of them. If you are someone with dry under eyes and you really want to try Shape Tape, but of course the original isn't the best for you, then absolutely try the creamy, because the creamy is really nice. It does apply creamy, and just like the original Shape Tape, it doesn't crease on me. It's beautiful. The only problem with this, I find, is that I have the shade medium in the original Shape Tape, and then I went and got shade medium 35N, which is the same shade, in the creamy version. Unfortunately, the creamy version is way too light. These two are not the same shade, and I really don't like this light version. It's a little bit too light for my brown skin, so I'm finding this very difficult to use. So in the creamy version, in store, I took a picture of the shade that I want to purchase in the full size, and that is 37G medium tan golden. That is a much better shade for me in the creamy version rather than shade medium. So that's the shade I recommend to pick up if you are close to my skin tone. Next up is the MAC Studio Fix 24-Hour Wear Concealer. This is a beautiful concealer from MAC, and this is very lightweight. Far more lightweight than your Too Faced, than the McGrath, and even Shape Tape. It has a super thin formula, but it still gives you really good coverage. I wouldn't say it gives you the same coverage as Pat McGrath. Pat McGrath is really full coverage, but this one definitely gives you that medium plus coverage that I really enjoy to wear, especially for work, not too intense under the eye. So I really enjoy that. Now, the shade that I have is more summer appropriate for me. This is NC44. I got this in summer. This is not a shade that will work for me in my current skin tone in winter here in New Zealand. So I will pick up a lighter shade than this one. It has very minimal creasing for me as well. I will see some creasing by the end of the day, but it's very minimal, and I just love how lightweight this formula is. It smooths out and blends beautifully, has never given me any issues whatsoever. Next up, I have to mention the Maybelline Age Eraser. What is it called? Instant Age Refined Eraser Concealer. This is beautiful, and this has been probably a holy grail for many people, and this continues to be an amazing formula. Even with this terrible packaging up the top, I don't mind it too much. It's not as bad as that Charlotte Tilbury concealer that I showed you guys in my empties video. It is not as bad as that, just because this cap doesn't go all the way down. It's really just at the top here. And this is also really affordable, and I love that. The two shades that I have are the shade medium and shade golden. Shade golden is the perfect shade for me for summer. It's slightly a correcting shade as well, because it has a bit of that peachy undertone. So I could even wear this without a corrector, especially for those no makeup days or very light makeup days. The shade golden is really beautiful. I can use this around my mouth instead of using a corrector, and it will work for me perfectly. Now, shade medium is what I use in my current skin color in winter, and with shade medium I do absolutely need a corrector underneath. It's a lot lighter, as you can see, but these concealers, the formula is again very lightweight. They're spreadable, and they don't crease much either. Like with this formula, I don't really notice much creasing, so I really love that. And lastly, I want to talk about my Revlon concealer that I reviewed last year. So this is the Revlon photoready candid antioxidant concealer. I've got the shade 055. Unfortunately, the shade is more of my summer shade, so not the shade I am in currently. I also struggled to find a shade in this, just because in New Zealand we don't have the full range for this concealer. We've only got like less than 7 shades, and this was like the best match. In winter it can work for me just as long as I use a brightening corrector underneath. If I use a normal orange tone corrector underneath, the overall look tends to be a little bit too dark. What I love about this formula is this formula does not crease on me. Like, I can wear this the whole day. This doesn't crease. It is very soft in application, it's spreadable, it's creamy, but it only has medium coverage. So if you're looking for an effortless concealer for day to day, and you're looking for something that is going to look super natural on you, stick with the Revlon Candid. The fact that it only goes up to medium coverage gives it a very natural look under the eye. You don't look overall makeup-y or overdone, and this is a great option for people who don't tend to wear a lot of makeup very frequently. It's great for work. Just overall beautiful formulation from Revlon. So those were my top favorite concealers. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and also let me know, have you tried any of these? What are your top favorites? And I'll see you guys in my next video. See ya.